In rum world, Bacardi has a little bit of a bad reputation, but when you take the Carta Blanca, their white rum, out of the equation, actually, in the grand scheme of things, their older rums are quite decent. But in today's video, we're going to be looking at the 8-year-old and the 10-year-old. I'm going to be asking the question, is it worth paying the extra money and upgrading to the 10? Let's find out. Welcome back, rum fans. Today, as I've just said, Bacardi is all about the two at the upper end of the spectrum in their range. To give you some idea of the price comparison between the two, the 8-year-old, UK prices, Master of Malt, my friends at Master of Malt, UK, we're looking at £31.24 versus £48.44. So to give you the conversion, so you guys around the world have got it, you're roughly looking at $40 versus $62 and €36, or yeah, €36 and €56. So, you know, it's quite a healthy sort of price margin in the UK, about £16-17 for the upgrade. Is it worth it? Now, I have also got another slight confession, because for months and months and months, I've been saying, you know, I mainly focus on rums under £50, $60, €60. But actually, looking at the exchange rate this week, yeah, things have sort of changed a little bit. So £50 in the UK now is roughly $64, and rounded up, I've got to round it up because it's nearly there, €58. Okay, so the euros have come down, the dollars have gone up. So that is our sort of comparison at this moment in time. Now, as far as I'm aware, there's no different barrel finishes between these two. I know Bacardi, not so much in the UK, but Bacardi does do different cask finishes, barrel finishes around the world, the US and places like that. As far as I'm aware, these are just purely in oak barrels. They're both 40% ABV. It's just mainly that the rums in here in the blend have just spent an extra 2 years in a barrel. That's all it is. Now, for long-term regular viewers, you will know that I'm quite a big fan of the Bacardi 8-year-old. I think it's a perfect sort of even gateway rum. At those prices, you can't dismiss it as a gateway rum. You know, it's pretty decent. It's been, you know, ever since I've been doing this channel, if I've done like the sort of rum side of this channel, you know, if I've kind of looked at people getting into aged rum from the sort of real basic rum, Bacardi 8's always been there and thereabouts. But I'm getting empty. Is it worth me sort of replenishing the bottle, or should I just stick to the 10? Has my palate evolved? Do I prefer the 10 more? So let me give you, I'll just give you very quick sort of tasting note, or sort of nosing and tasting notes on the 8-year-old, but then we'll sort of focus on the 10. So the older aromas on the 8-year-old, it's just soft, it's just easy going. Smells quite fruity, inviting. The one thing I get particularly with sort of Bacardi in the aged rums, and the 4-year-old as well, the Quattro. What's it? The 8yo in the 8yo, is it? And Diez. So you French, Spanish, you know I can't pronounce it. I'll give it a go, but I can't pronounce it. Yeah, just really soft, approachable. I always get those sort of apricot stone fruit vibes off of these. There's a little touch of vanilla, little touch of warming oak on there. I get little nods of toffee, maybe not too much, not really kind of, not, you know, really heavily aged rums. I don't get that sort of toffee vibe, but a little bit of toffee, maybe even sort of Christmas cake fruit, you know, like dried fruit, dried raisins, dried sultanas, that sort of thing. But the big notes for me on there is the vanilla, is that kind of stone fruit apricot. That's just what I get inherently from this rum. And then on the taste, I really like it. I do. Soft, little bit of that wood, sort of aging tingle around the palate, but not too much. It's vanilla up front. There is that juicy stone fruit apricot that I get in there. Toasted, oaky-fied, a bit of sort of dry, bit of raisins. Definitely not sultanas this time. Bit of raisins, definitely raisins on there. You know, there's nothing on that rum. Orange. Ooh, bit of orange. There's nothing on that 8-year-old that would put any newcomer off rum that wants to sort of get into sipping rum from your sort of cheaper, sweeter rums. It's not bone dry. It's not sweet either. It's really not a sweet rum in the ground. Nowhere even remotely close to Diplomatico now. It's just a really light, really approachable, fantastic, in my vocabulary, session rum. I really do rate that. And for £31 roughly, give or take, I think that is a stonking rum. I really do. The only thing I will say about it, in that price bracket, for me, if you're a cocktail fan, for me, probably doesn't have the character or the oomph to stand out in cocktails. You know, that price bracket is up against for cocktail wise, it's up against your Appleton 8-year-olds, for example. You know, and for that in cocktails, there is no comparison. The Appleton 8-year-old, the Chairman's Reserve Legacy, and sort of even the lower Chairman's Reserve, they are just going to perform, for me, a little bit better in cocktails because they have got that oomph. For me, this is purely a simple mixing rum and Coke, you know, for a better rum and Coke, rum and ginger, or sipping neat, rum fashions and that sort of stuff. Maybe even if you like aged daiquiris, it's playing in that world for me. But when it comes to tiki cocktails, probably doesn't kind of sit there. Now the 10, the Diez. Is that how you say it? The Diez. Sorry. Is that what it's called? The Ocho? It's Ocho. I'm sure it's Ocho. Anyway, the Diez, the 10, much bolder, much more in your face, much more wood, roasted notes. Probably even a little bit of nuttiness. You know, there is no mistaking. They are very, very different rums on the nose. I would say I still get vanilla, but it's a heavier vanilla. It's where that roasted note comes out. I think it's more roasted vanilla. I probably do actually get tobacco notes off there as well. And there is that still, that fruity vibe off there. Bit of stone fruit, a bit of raisins, but nowhere even remotely close to the Bacardi 8-year-old. The Ocho. It's just different. It's more the age, the extra 2 years just brings out that heavier fruit. That's all it is. I probably wouldn't go tropical fruit like I would that, or that stone fruit, but definitely sort of your Christmas cake fruit, you know, your dates, your raisins, your sultanas, that sort of vibe. Now the 10 on the palate is a little bit more punchy, but still kind of soft. No, you haven't got the ABV kick. You've got a little bit more of that sort of peppery wood tingle on the top of your tongue. It's definitely not, you know, that would be a whole different ball game at 43, at 46%, but it's not, it's 40. So it's still quite soft. It's still quite mellow, but very easy to drink. You know, this is such a close call. I would say peach. I would get more peachy vibe off that palate. Once that sort of wood has just, and it's you know, the wood sort of peppery tingle doesn't hang around too long. It's there up top, but it swiftly disappears. You are left with soft fruit. And I would go peaches, I would go orange. I saw a nice word the other day that I kind of associate with this is flowery as well. I'm not saying it's a flowery rum, but I kind of, or, you know, like herbaceous or spring or anything like that. But I don't know, when I just saw that word, that's just kind of what reminded me of this. But again, it's not sweet, but it's definitely not dry. It's sort of in between, you know, definitely for me, not even punching up at, I keep putting it's moved now, isn't it? Plantation XO. I think most people understand the benchmark for that as a level of sweetness. And Diplomatico Reserva or whatever it's exclusive Reserva is even way more than that. This doesn't punch even remotely close to sort of that Plantation XO range. But the price point, the reason why I brought it up at the price point, I think that is the comparison. But that said, I keep coming back to it and I can't stop sipping it. Again, it is another session rum. And I actually really do enjoy it. It's a very different journey to the 8. The 8, you know, I would sort of say is well balanced, whereas that sort of punches out in wood before it dies off and then goes into the fruit. Whereas with the 8, you kind of get it all at the same time. So here's kind of the big questions for this, you know, and I come back to my power questions. Is it value for money? Have I got anything behind the bar that's remotely close to it? And would I restock it? And when it comes to this, they are very, very similar rums. And my viewpoint on this, and this is not harsh at all, but I genuinely wouldn't put the best part of £20, whatever that is, to, you know, $24, $25, $26 between the rums. I genuinely can't say that is a hell of a step up compared to that. I get the nuances, the subtle nuances that are different, but it's not that different to punch up that much money against that. You know, and to relate this to the US, is almost $20 between it, and euros, you know, is virtually €20 in between the two bottles. use case for this, again, it's not but the Bacardi 10 is not a cocktail rum for me, and I certainly wouldn't call it a cocktail rum at £50. It's a lovely, it's not a mixing rum for me either. I think I personally prefer the 8yo, the 8, as a mixing rum. So it's a lovely rum. I really do like the 10. There again, there's nothing in there to put you off. And I would recommend people do try it. I really do. There's nothing bad in there at all. There's nothing that's kind of, you know, you're going to dislike about it. It's not that exciting. And I mean that in a nice way. It's not like a, wow, what's that? But it is a very soft, very approachable, for someone that doesn't like longer aged rums, pretty drinkable rum. You know, so in that vein, I do kind of like it. But I like, there's other rums with more oomph and more body behind them that are way cheaper than the Bacardi 10. So I don't know where that sits for me. If I'm being honest, I don't think I would actually upgrade. I don't think I would replace that. What I would probably do is wait for that to go and then replace the 8. I don't think I would replace the 8 right now while I've got the 10, because I can quite happily sip on that. But when that disappears, I think I would just simply restock the 8-year-old. But those of you that have tried it, let me know your thoughts and opinions. You know, would you stick to the 8 or would you upgrade to the 10? How do you use the 8 and the 10? Do you use them as cocktail rums? Are they cheap enough for you for cocktail rums? Let us know. I really do enjoy it, but I just think for my fruity palate, I just think I prefer the 8 more.